All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down a truly gripping piece of psychological horror, Nibir Singh Roy's story, Afternoon. We're going to see exactly how it brilliantly masks a devastating twist right in front of our eyes. If you're fascinated by how authors manipulate our perception and use unreliable narrators to hide the truth, you are absolutely in for a treat. We're going to deconstruct this narrative step by step, stripping away the illusions to uncover the chilling reality underneath.
So imagine this. You wake up from an incredibly deep sleep. You're completely disoriented. Your body aches so intensely that you can barely even stand, let alone walk. You manage to drag yourself out of bed, peek out into the hallway, and what do you see? A thick red stream flowing down the stairs. But here's the thing, you aren't bleeding. So whose blood is this? This one question instantly anchors us in the protagonist's panic and sets the whole mystery in motion.
Section 1. A bloody awakening.
The author completely disorients us right alongside this young boy. He wakes up to find himself in an oddly empty, locked house, and his family is just gone. He forces himself to investigate those bloody stairs, but when he gets there, the red stream has vanished. Instead, he finds his own sandals scattered on the steps, and they feel sticky, almost like glue coated in some warm liquid. The truly terrifying part, he went to sleep barefoot. If he never left his bed, how on earth did his sandals get down there? The psychological tension is already winding up so tight.
And that brings us to a massively important detail: the boy's severe, unexplained physical pain. He says his legs feel like they were shattered with a hammer, his head is pounding, he's stiff, he feels like he's been carrying heavy sacks of cement. Now, as readers, we kind of just brush this off at first, right? We think it's just a symptom of his fear or maybe some kind of supernatural attack. But hold on to this detail. This physical exhaustion is absolutely crucial. It perfectly sets the stage for the big psychological reveal later on. Basically, his body is telling a story that his mind is completely blocked out.
Moving into Section 2, the shadowy figure.
So, the boy ventures outside in a desperate search for help, but his neighbor actually turns him away. She's terrified of her own abusive husband. He retreats back to his house just as a sudden, massive rainstorm begins, and then the power cuts out, plunging him into total darkness. And that's when he spots it right outside his window. A tall, inhuman black silhouette with glowing red eyes just watching him through the storm. It's a total masterclass in isolating the protagonist. You've got no electricity, no Wi-Fi, unreachable parents, unhelpful neighbors, and a literal monster at the gates.
Which brings us to Section 3, paranoia and isolation. Here, the author really ramps up the claustrophobia. The boy barricades himself inside his room, shoving this heavy wardrobe in front of his door, just trying to survive until morning. He ends up passing out from the sheer mental toll of it all. But he doesn't wake up to safety. Instead, we experience the true horror when he wakes up the next evening. That heavy wardrobe, tossed aside like a toy. The boy himself is severely beaten, his lips are cracked, his clothes are soaked in blood, and there are flies buzzing around his cuts. As he drags himself across the floor, he finds himself staring up helplessly at a massive, 6-foot-tall demonic figure. It has sharp white teeth and those same burning red eyes, just smiling this giant twisted grin down at him.
Now, right at this point, our entire understanding of the narrative completely pivots. We have to start looking at this story not just as a typical monster-in-the-house horror, but as a fractured mind desperately trying to protect itself. You see, psychological dissociation happens when reality becomes simply too horrific for the human brain to process, so it just detaches. Keep this concept of dissociation in the back of your mind, because it is literally the master key to unlocking this entire narrative.
Section 4, a gruesome discovery.
Gathering every last ounce of strength he has, the boy arms himself with a small kitchen knife. He actually notes that his father's machete is mysteriously missing. Then he follows this sickening, rotting smell, like decomposing meat, to the locked storeroom. He forces his way in, breaking the swollen door right off its hinges. When his phone flashlight cuts through the dark, it illuminates an absolute nightmare. He finds his father's blue, hanging corpse. The very person he thought was going to come home and save him has been dead the entire time. And right on cue, the red-eyed beast emerges from the shadows, roaring and chasing the boy out of the room.
He barely escapes into his parents' bedroom, locks the door, and tries to catch his breath. Then he looks into the dressing table mirror. And guys, this is where the ultimate, devastating twist is finally revealed. He doesn't see his own face.
he sees the monster staring back from his own reflection. His face literally deforms into that tall, dark silhouette with a slashed smile.
He is the monster. This realization just delivers a massive narrative punch. The creature in the mirror speaks directly to him, and it says, "I am you. You are me. I've saved you always, every time you fall apart." It doesn't speak with hostility, but with this twisted sense of care. It completely confirms that the monster is an alternate protective persona. It's a violent alter ego created by the boy's own subconscious just to survive an environment that he could no longer physically or mentally endure.
Section 5. The Monster Within.
Okay, it's time to drop into the clinical, grim reality of what actually happened in that house, stripping away all of the unreliable narrator's delusions. Remember all that physical pain he felt at the start? The extreme exhaustion? The blood on the stairs? It wasn't because he was being hunted. It was because he was the hunter. While in a dissociative fugue state, his monster persona completely took over. He brutally murdered his mother and sister and used his father's missing machete to kill him in the storeroom before hanging him. After the slaughter, he cleaned the house, locked the doors, and went to sleep, his mind wiping the trauma completely clean to protect him.
But, violence like this doesn't just come from nowhere. We can clearly see the dark roots of his trauma here. The monster persona actually reminds the boy of why it had to intervene in the first place. His mother constantly belittled him, calling him her curse. His father subjected him to severe physical abuse, beating him with a belt over minor things like a broken vase. On top of that, his sister was always the favorite golden child, while he was humiliated both at home and at school, constantly mocked by peers like Santa. These daily horrific abuses ultimately triggered his mind to snap. It created a ruthless entity simply because the fragile, emotional boy couldn't survive the pain anymore.
The explainer culminates with this incredibly haunting message written in blood on the wall: "Set me free." After reliving the suppressed memories of the slaughter, the boy just stops fighting. He realizes the monster gave him the freedom from pain that he had always craved. He gives up control, which signifies his complete surrender to his darker, liberated half. The innocent boy is gone for good. The monster is now entirely in charge.
And that brings us to the core theme of this incredibly dark story. I'll leave you with a really provocative thought to ponder. We just witnessed a horrific massacre, but who truly created this nightmare? Is the real monster the fractured mind that killed to survive, or the abusers who systematically destroyed that mind in the very first place? It's a terrifying, sobering look into the true origins of psychological trauma. Thanks so much for exploring this narrative with me today in this explainer. Take care and keep analyzing what's hiding just beneath the surface.